Hello and welcome to Culture on I-24 News. I'm Oded Grober. Thank you for joining me. Today on our program, we'll talk to a photographer whose new exhibition deals with the women's section in the synagogue. We'll be breaking bread in the Holy Land. And we'll take a look at masculine themes in current cinema. In the Jewish tradition of the last few hundreds of years, women sit separate from the men in synagogues, in a women's section or women's gallery, either on a separate floor or behind a partition. Photographer Adva N Baram's new exhibition at the Architect's House Gallery in Jaffa takes a look at women's place at the synagogue. Baram photographed many synagogues from different time periods, both in Israel and in Europe, and she's here now in the studio to tell us all about it. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. It's a real pleasure.
So how did this project come to be?
Well, I was as an architect. I'm an architect, and I'm interested in public spaces. Public spaces have a very crucial influence on how we behave as a society. So I talked to my curators, and we decided to look into the spaces of synagogues. And what interested me was the subspace or non-space called Ezrat Nashim in Hebrew, but it's actually the women's section.
Right.
I was interested as an architect, how does this space or non-space act in the whole of the building?
Okay, and what did you find?
Well, there are no actual conclusions, but the project did rise up a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And this is very interesting. Well, this is also the social meaning of it, but there's the architectural meaning of it. And I think that it's very interesting to see how will the future synagogue look like.
Now, you've photographed some, as we said, different synagogues from different time periods.
Right.
Have you seen any change over time of the women's section in synagogue?
My answer would be not over time, but over place.
Okay, different geographically, different places had different...
Yes, because women are still cast out in synagogues, even modern synagogues. The modern synagogue is very, it's very crucial, like the partition. The partition look like at this partition. What does this partition feel to you? Like jail. And there are partitions that are more open, and they really want to include the women in the prayer. I'm an utopist, so I thought, what would I want to see? And I wanted to see like the women's prayer is like the wind in the sails of the men. And this is what I wanted to see. What actually happens in the field is very different. There are some Ezrot Nashim that are really insulting. There are some that are not even thought about.
Right. So you know what? Let's take a look at some of the synagogues you photographed, and you'll tell us more about it. Let's begin with this one.
Yeah. This is the synagogue, the big synagogue in Tel Aviv. But you can see that the women's section is really left out. It's like saying to you, okay, you're outside. The photograph speaks for itself.
Yeah,
I think.
Certainly, because this is a beautiful, beautiful synagogue. But if we see the women's section, it looks quite different.
Not on the same level.
Yeah, it's totally different. Absolutely. Yeah, let's move on. Let's keep going.
This synagogue, the whole Ezrat Nashim is these 4 chairs outside.
Really?
In this corridor, and the roof...
Which is even outside. It's outside.
It's outside, and the roof is also new. So you think about the woman.
And
Friday
where is
evening,
this?
she's wearing her best dresses, and she wants to wear white, and she wants to be festive. And then she comes to the synagogue, and this is what
This
she
is where she
comes.
finds herself, right. And if it happens to be raining, she also gets wet.
Right.
Last but not least.
Well, this one is. I think it's the best surprise of all. This is the synagogue in Ashdod, and this synagogue talks about, for me, architecturally, talks about this unity that I was looking for between the women and the men.
Yeah, we can see it's open. There's room. It's not too bad.
Not too bad. and women can be a part of the prayer because they can see what's going on downstairs and they can hear what's going on downstairs, and that way they are really part. Well, people coming together in prayer is a really spiritual thing.
Yeah.
It has power. It really has power. So I think architecture has to think about how to make it even more powerful.
Last question. Where would you like to see this go?
Yes, this is the main question, and thank you for asking this question. I think as an architect, my goal was to see how the future synagogue would be planned in the future. I think if architecturally we would put some thought to where the women, where the position of women in society and in prayer, I think it would look really differently. And there's some really interesting future synagogues to look upon.
All right, so Adva, you're an architect. Start planning, and we'll find someone to commission it.
And before that, I'll keep on. I'll even keep on photographing because it's not the end of my quest.
It's a beautiful project. Thank you so much for making it, for coming, telling us about it.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Oded.
Bread is perhaps the most basic of human foods, present in one way or another in every society. Here in Israel, it has a special significance tied with tradition and religion. David Gombin and Pazit Dank bring us the story.
Salt, water, and flour mixed them and you get bread, probably the most common food in the world. But in Israel, its importance is even more crucial since it has a religious and cultural dimension. Firstly, in Judaism,
it is written in the Bible, man does not live by bread alone. Only bread can sate the man. You can eat every food, but it won't sate you. Only bread.
In Christianity, too, the bread plays a very important role. During the Holy Communion, it symbolizes the body of Christ. And for Muslims, the bread is almost sacred. Abu Maryam works in the oldest bakery in Jaffa.
To take one example, if we find a piece of bread or pita while walking down the street, in our culture, and although this custom is less followed nowadays, we take it and kiss it, and then put it on the side. It's strictly forbidden to throw away bread. It's very, very important to us.
Pita, lafa, challah. In Israel, traditional bread takes many forms. Yet in recent years, Israelis have become excited about another type of bread, a more Western bread, and in the French style if possible. To meet this demand, Julien Lehermite travels the world as bakery consultant. He spreads the French way of baking. He was one of the first stars of the show People of Bread, held in Tel Aviv.
Je pense que le côté français en Israël est très demandé et très demandeur.
I think that in Israel the French touch is very much in demand, and so they want to learn because right now Israel is developing his gastronomy, so the French touch make their eyes sparkle.
An enthusiasm both gastronomic and aesthetic, so much so that in Tel Aviv people take pictures of bread. During this fair dedicated to baguette and also rustic bread, Orange Shaleb exposes her work. Pictures that have the power to awaken every sense.
This can't be sexier, especially when they're working on it. The hands, the dough, the results, the bread in the oven. I'm loving it.
Aesthetic or not, traditionally bread is the food of the poor. But in Israel, bread costs on average twice as much as in Europe. So eating good bread here is quite a luxury, or to be more precise, a French luxury.
In a moment, we'll examine how new films deal with masculinity. But first, our cultural recommendation for the day.
World-famous icons of Jerusalem include the Western Wall, the Tower of David, and the Machane Yehuda Market. It integrates in a unique way the old and the new, both a bustling marketplace and a blend of food, drinks, shopping, bars, restaurants, and now also dance. 7 choreographers and dance groups will perform at 6 bars around the market on Monday night. The dance shows will be presented in a bar hopping style. Each show will be performed twice, so the crowd can hop from bar to bar starting at 9 p.m. and catch 3 to 4 shows in one night, and of course enjoy the market's magical atmosphere and flavors at nighttime. Oh, and important to mention, the entrance is free. The project is an initiative of the Katamon Dance Group and its choreograph manager Elad Schechter. According to him, the market is the main artery of culture in Jerusalem. It is a fertile ground for different kinds of art, and this project brings the emerging dance scene in Jerusalem to the market, which is the heart of the city and a microcosm of its diversity.
Now it's time for Shachar Peled segment, Off Screen. Bless you.
Thank you. Small allergy attack here, but we'll be okay.
We won't let it hold us back.
Absolutely. Oded, it's a man's world.
Tell me about it.
And men are taking us through, opening us the Oscar season, upcoming February 2015 ceremony. And 2 films can prove it already. We're going to talk about 2 films today, which are already considered Oscar ready. We start with Whiplash, Damien Chazelle's jazz drama.
Let me just be very clear. No spoilers.
Nothing. I know you haven't seen it yet, but it's an incredible film about an inspiring drama. Now, drums are usually considered a manly instrument, but this film isn't really about drumming. It's about how far someone would go to become the best. And this is intriguing and fascinating to all audiences. It depicts the relationship between him and his mentor, the conductor of this very prestigious Manhattan orchestra, which, let's say, he manages more like a boot camp or a small military base. So let's quote from Variety, the film transformed the traditionally polite stages of top-notch conservatory with all the psychological intensity of a battlefield or a sports arena. And J.K. Simmons here with the role of his life. Many say with this he will crown definitely the best supporting actor of the year.
It's only his characters that he portrayed up till now already justify that he gets something.
But many say this is the first time he really manages to overcome the shadow of Chillinger back in his character as Oz, though others say this is Chillinger as a manager of an orchestra. This is an entire cast consisting of men. There's 2 female roles with very small parts here. We can see one of them, his girlfriend and another aunt, but these roles are really 7 minutes tops combined with very little dialogue. It's very focusing on this young musician portrayed by Miles Teller, also an incredible role. The performances here are wonderful, and we must also mention the music, the cinematography by Israeli Sharon Meir, and the wonderful, wonderful editing by Tom Cross, which make this small indie film into overwhelmingly loved.
The trailer itself is so powerful that I have no doubt
it highly. And we're moving on to wrestling with the film Foxcatcher, which will be released November 14. And in it, not only the face of Steve Carell is unrecognizable, but also his performance. Director Bennett Miller, known for Capote and Moneyball, takes this film based on a true story and really manages to make a turn from the usually funny roles of Carell into this drama, and it's already considered an Oscar favorite. Carell stars as John DuPont, a paranoid millionaire who opens a Foxcatcher farm in his Pennsylvania house, turns it into a facility for USA wrestling team in the 1990s, and many say that rarely on screen you can see wrestling, which is a very intense man bodies colliding together, as a metaphor for real emotional rage that is beneath the surface. And this is together with the great performances of both Channing Tatum starring as Mark Schultz, the wrestler, and his brother Mark Ruffalo starring as Dave Schultz. Also almost unrecognizable.
Unbelievable story.
Yes, it's an unbelievable story, and once again combined with this metaphor and the wonderful performances of these men. Also, not really a story about wrestling, but about temptations of wealth, abuse of power, one might say, and very like Whiplash, how there are downsides to the human drive for success. And these two films really portray this magnificently.
Yeah. So best actor category is going to be, there's going to be quite a fight.
It's already
February.
quite full, and many say that maybe this year we might need even a 6 or a 7 people category specifically for that one.
Well, time will tell. We'll certainly cover that.
Exactly.
Thank you, Shachar.
Thank you, Edith.
Thank you at home for joining us as well. I hope you enjoyed watching our show. Tomorrow you can find our best of show summing up this week, and please join us again next week.